What's up, everybody? I hope you're having a wonderful day. I came across this article a couple of months ago, actually, but at the time I was really busy with doubly cup series stuff in school, so I didn't really have time to make a video about it, but I always planned on it because I thought it was a really interesting article, and maybe you, especially if you're a NASCAR racing fan, like most of you probably are, hopefully you find this interesting because I thought this was really funny. This is an article I found on SBNation.com. As you can see there by a man by the name of Jordan Bianchi, who is, I guess, their NASCAR reporter there. And that's just, that's the housekeeping stuff. As you can see by the title, it is What NASCAR Spotters Really Think. And now, to be fair, this came out in February of 2015, so this is a little over a year old. It's probably, maybe it's changed a little bit, but probably not too much, given what I've read already. This is just Mr. Bianchi, I guess, or whoever here, apparently polled a lot of, or most all of the NASCAR Sprint Cup spotters for their answers to several interesting questions and pieced together basically a chart of all the most popular answers. So I'm just going to go through them here with you guys and see if we can't spot some sort of correlation between any of these. Best track for a spotter. Martinsville, no surprise there, gets 15 votes, probably because it's small, everyone can see around it. Bristol, same thing, got 6 votes. It's a little faster, though, so I'm sure that's why people panic. And you got to watch out for multiple lanes. Anywhere with good sight lines. That just goes without saying. I think all these count. I'm surprised to see Sonoma got any votes whatsoever. Just because I feel like, don't they need like 3 spotters at that track? Like, maybe that's why they like it, because it's easy. They only have to spot like 2 turns. Anyway, you can read the quotes if you want. I'm not going to read them. I'm not going to read them. Worst track for a spotter, Indianapolis with the most votes, and I can vouch for that one. I went to the Brickyard 400 back in 2007, I think, whichever one Tony Stewart won. I think it was 2007. And I mean, I sat on the front stretch, and any of you that's ever been to Indianapolis, you can't see all the way around, and it's kind of awkward because there's that rectangular shape. Things get in your way. It's not a very good sight track. Watkins Glen makes sense. I think it's funny that Daytona and Talladega are on the worst track for a spotter, but yet they are also were on the best track for a spotter. That is interesting. Who makes you most apprehensive when your driver is around them? Well, most people said no one. They're very polite. These spotters are very polite. They don't want to throw anyone under the bus, even though it's clearly anonymous. But Ryan Newman gets the second most amount of votes, and J.J. Yaley, who, Ryan Newman makes sense. I always hated him in NASCAR video games. When I was like 8, I had a major rivalry with Mr. Newman in NASCAR 2007. Felt like me and him were always racing for the lead, and he was always pounding my left rear no matter what. Newman. Other drivers receiving votes: Kyle Busch, AJ Allmendinger, everyone, rookies, Trevor Bayne, and changes on the track. That makes sense. I like these quotes too. I'm not going to read them, but you can read them for yourselves. Yeah, Ryan Newman. He's a very aggressive race car driver, and there's nothing wrong with that, unless you ask these spotters. And I feel like I know where Trevor Bayne comes from on there, because I'm always listening to Matt Kenseth's radio every weekend, and I know for the longest time him and his spotter would always go back and forth about how crazy Trevor Bayne's driving. I like Trevor Bayne, but he's a little nuts on the racetrack sometimes. Who are you most comfortable seeing your driver race with? Since this is over a year old, Jeff Gordon's on this list. Makes sense. Jimmy Johnson, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Matt Kenseth, Tony Stewart. Tony Stewart surprises me. I'm a little scared even when I see him show up to the racetrack, because who knows what he's going to do or who he's going to get mad at. You never know. Kevin Harvick. Everyone. Okay. That's a pretty good one. Who is the most underrated driver? Josh Wise gets the most votes. Michael McDowell, Alex Bowman. Then you see Greg Biffle, Allmendinger, Stenhouse, Blaney, Colwitt, Danica Patrick's on this list. Yeah, I like this quote about Danica is pretty interesting. She's not terrible, but she's not great. Who is the most overrated driver? Dale Earnhardt Jr. gets the most votes. Please don't get mad at me. I'm just the messenger. This is another person's. This is the spotter's opinions. Get mad at them. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is the most overrated driver, apparently, and then, ironically, Danica Patrick is also one of the most overrated. I feel like that's more overhyped, she is, not so much overrated. Kyle Busch, that one I don't know if I agree with. I think Kyle Busch at this point established himself as a pretty darn good driver. That's just my opinion. Truex, too. I think he's also solidified himself. To be fair, this was a year and a half ago. He's done more since then. What else? What's the number one distraction atop the spotters stand? NASCAR. That's your job. It's not a distraction. These spotters have a very interesting sense of humor. I guess it's just going over my head. Weather. Yes, weather can be distracting. And you see a cloud that looks like, a fluffy bunny, and you just forget where you are and fall off the stand because you're trying to grab it or something. I don't know what these spotters are thinking. Women. That makes sense, I suppose. Although they're really high up in the air, I don't know what women they're looking at. I don't know how they can see anybody on the racetrack. Everyone's just like little dots way below them. I don't don't really know how they're are they on Snapchat or Instagram? Are they just are they like on the internet looking at pictures of women while they are supposed to be doing their jobs? That could always be a thing, but yeah, I don't really know how they're even able to see them. I like the crew chief gets a vote. Crew chief's kind of crazy. Needing to go to the bathroom. That's I've always wondered, if a driver can make it through, or I still don't even know what the urban legend is between, or how drivers if they go to the restroom at all during the race. I feel like that's one of those things that'll never be known 100% for truth. What's the number one characteristic of a great spotter? Seeing stuff before it happens, remaining calm, being able to decipher and communicate a lot of info quickly. So all of you that are aspiring spotters, because I'm sure that's a very highly sought after career that you can definitely get into a good school to go to. This is what you need to do to become an amazing spotter. You could be the one yelling at Dale Earnhardt Jr. in just the near future. Although probably not Dale Earnhardt Jr., because let's be honest, he's pretty old. He probably won't be in the sport for that much longer. That you could be yelling at Kyle Larson when he finally wins his first race 20 years from now. He'll probably win a race before then. I just like to joke. I love Kyle Larson. All right, well, that's the end of this video. I hope you liked this article. I did not write it, but I thought it was really interesting. I felt like I said, I found it a couple months ago. Didn't have time to make a video about it. It made me laugh a little bit, especially looking at which drivers these spotters don't like being around. I'm sure y'all can think of many examples when those drivers or whoever have messed with your guy in the past. But yeah, if you want to become a spotter in the future, this looks like I mean, no offense to the spotters, but this seems very easy. I mean, what you're seeing. Yeah, obviously you can't be a fortune teller, but it's not that hard. And remaining calm. If the driver's not, you better be. Seems like a pretty easy job to me. I might send in my resume. Sounds like a good plan.